So this was a abstract that I presented as a poster, and this was a single center retrospective study evaluating the outcomes of CD19 CAR-T for patients with transformed DLBCL. Transformed DLBCL is a patient population that's high risk, that's often underrepresented. These patients have limited treatment options and poor outcomes with conventional therapies. And these patients were very underrepresented in the pivotal trials that led to CAR-T approval. So I think this was a study that I think is important to do and to really evaluate we already know that, other therapies don't work as well in this patient population, but what about CAR-T, which has really changed the landscape and management of relapsed refractory DLBCL. So we evaluated at City of Hope 55 patients with transformed DLBCL and 179 patients with de novo DLBCL. We found that baseline characteristics were pretty comparable in both cohorts. Majority of patients in the transformed cohort, 85% were transformed from follicular, but we had 11% from marginal zone and 3% from Waldenstrom's. We did not include Richter's patients in this study, given they have different biology and would confound the results. So we kept it focused on all indolent histologies except for Richter's, which I think should be studied separately. So in our study, in the transformed cohort, the median time from transformation to CAR-T was about 7 months. And again, both cohorts had comparable prior lines of therapy, median of 3, bulky disease, elevated LDH, sort of very comparable disease characteristics and high-risk features in both cohorts. Any grade ICANS was comparable, 50% versus 33%, no statistically significant differences. And any grade CRS was also comparable between both 87% versus 69%. So looking at sort of safety, tocilizumab use, steroid use, hospitalization use, all of those were, very, very, very comparable in both cohorts. In terms of efficacy, so the overall response rate was 82% versus 81%, so very similar. The CR rate was 50% in the de novo DLBCL group versus 65% in the transformed cohort. So actually, not statistically significantly different, but a little bit higher in the transformed cohort. The median PFS was 8.6 in the de novo and 19.5 months in the transformed, with a 2-year PFS 41 versus 43% and 2-year overall survival 54 versus 63%. So again, not statistically significantly different, but actually numerically higher in the transformed DLBCL cohort. So I think this study really demonstrates that CD19 CAR-T is a safe and effective treatment for patients with relapsed refractory transformed DLBCL with comparable safety and comparable efficacy to de novo DLBCL, and CAR-T is a very promising treatment option for these patients, and we are currently in the process of expanding the study to being a multi-center study, so that we have a larger sample size to evaluate outcomes of CAR-T in transformed DLBCL, which is again a patient population of unmet need.